at the hands of a immigrant from South Africa. He obtained a CDL out of the state of Michigan. Enough's enough, folks. We can't keep these immigrants and these illegal aliens on our roads. They don't deserve to be licensed anywhere until they learn to speak our language and understand rules of the road as well as all traffic signs. Yes, it's happened again. This time out of Nevada. He killed a guy that just got engaged to his girlfriend and the girlfriend and another guy that was riding with them on motorcycle. He said he was changing with his co-driver driving responsibilities way on a highway in Nevada. How do you drive the wrong way in a semi on a highway in the United States? And why would you attempt to change drivers while the vehicle is moving? Yes, you did hear that right. Why would you attempt to make a driver change while you're moving? Folks, these liberal governors and Secretary of States, in the case of the state of Michigan, and Department of Transportation, and all the DMVs in the other liberal states that are issuing these licenses, I'm sorry, but the state of Michigan, Jocelyn Benson ought to be in prison for murder of these three individuals. Gavin Newsom and his Department of Motor Vehicle director should be right with her. And big Gretchen Whitmer. Not only is she committing fraud with tax dollars, giving her top campaign donor a $20 million grant who misspends the money, and then when the state says, no, you don't deserve the grant, we need the grant money back, she could only come up with $5 million. She got, in less than 3 years from the time she received it, and she received $20 million. That's fraud. And then this immigrant that Michigan Department Secretary of State issued a CDL, no restriction, to, attempts to change drivers while the truck is moving, and is going the wrong way down the interstate. Guys, you heard me say that right. Immigrant from South Africa going the wrong way down the interstate, changing drivers while the truck is moving, kills 3 motorcyclists. When are we going to be alarmed? When are liberals going to take accountability for what they've done? State of Michigan, Whitmer just announced that migrants are being illegal immigrants, illegal aliens now get driver's licenses. Come on, is the Democrat Party hurting for votes that bad where they're willing to try stealing another election? We can't keep allowing illegal immigrants from South Africa now, and then the two brothers that killed out of Florida, both illegal, to obtain CDLs. The death toll keeps rising, folks. Unfortunately, the South African killed 3. The weasel from India killed 3 this time, 2 prior. So he has a death toll on his hands of 5. The South African has 3. Folks, we need to get a hold of the legislators. There ought to be immediate shutdown of all CDL licenses issued in California, Washington State, the state of Michigan. They should be blocked from issuing CDLs, especially to immigrants and illegal aliens. Who's next? Because the more of these guys that are on our roads, the higher the death toll to American citizens. This South African was given a license, CDL license, out of the state of Michigan on a work visa. Who should be held accountable? We need ICE at every truck stop, every rest area, and patrolling the highways and the back roads around weigh scales. Every truck in our nation should be required to enter a weigh station. I don't care how heavy, how light, bypass. And yes, ICE should be at every truck stop. Folks, this is the second accident involving a immigrant and or a illegal alien weasel in the last 2 weeks. This guy, that's the latest one, is a South African driving truck. In Nevada, he's going the wrong way down the highway. Yes, you heard me right. He was going the wrong way. His co-driver and him switched seats while the truck was moving. That's highly risky, and you can't break more laws than doing that. So, in the last 2 weeks, immigrants and illegal aliens have now killed 6 Americans in 2 different trucking accidents where these gentlemen should never have obtained a driver's license, alone a CDL. Do we see the problem yet? How many more innocent American lives have to be spent, snuffed out for no reason other than these immigrants think that's the easy way to big money? And yes, it comes down to those that hold office that are less likely to be hard on illegal alien and immigrants. When it comes to driving, I'm sorry, but one party giving illegals and immigrants licensing, even for cars, should not be permitted. There's public transportation. Folks, we're talking family members here. Are you willing to sacrifice 1, 2, 3 of your family members for a legal alien so they can have a job? I don't even want them driving a car, folks. I am a retired Class A CDL driver with over 1,000,000 miles under me, meaning I've driven a semi over 1,000,000 miles. There's only 3 states in our country I have not driven through, and I'm talking the lower 48. That is North and South Dakota and Montana. I've even driven in Canada to Mississauga, which is a suburb of Toronto, Ontario. I've driven across international bridges. I've driven in every big city in the United States. Folks, who's next? Are you willing to sacrifice one of your family members? I think it's time the American public wakes up, calls their representatives, and makes English the official language. You should not be driving a car if you're illegal. Loan a 18-wheeler. 18-wheelers, folks, fully loaded, weigh 80,000 pounds. Scary, huh? So now we have 6 dead in 2 weeks' time because of the states of Washington, California, and now the state of Michigan. In case you haven't heard about this yet, a South African immigrant was granted a CDL through the state of Michigan. Unfortunately, I live in the state of Michigan, and that's who I have my CDL through, but I went to truck driving school, and I am a professional driver. I have over 1,000,000 miles under my belt. So I kind of know a thing or two about this. How many more have to die before we pass laws blocking them from getting CDLs? And I'm sorry, but if you support the liberals in our government, they're the problem, folks. They're allowing immigrants and illegals to get CDLs. Under federal law, that's illegal amongst itself. Federal law says that's only for those that are here legally and that have green cards and permanent residents, meaning those of us that were born here, not the ones that snuck across the southern border and don't speak English and don't comprehend English and don't understand basic road signs, have no idea about rules of the road. Folks, have you ever seen how they drive in India, New Delhi? If you ever see it, you'll compare it to starving about 700 rats and dropping a small piece of cheese in the middle of them. Because that's how they drive over there. Every which way. They don't care what the car next to them is doing. No wonder we've got weasels from India driving a CDL or driving a semi-truck, 18-wheeler, no doubt automatic, because I don't think they could operate a stick, and turning it around in a emergency turnaround space on the Florida Turnpike. And when he did it, folks, he jackknifed that trailer. Because there isn't enough room between guardrail and guardrail for the truck and trailer. There isn't. There's just no way. He blocked 5 lanes of the northbound traffic when a minivan slammed into him. Okay, that's the case in Florida. Now let's look at the case in Nevada. We have an immigrant from South Africa that got a CDL through Michigan Secretary of State's office. And yes, I live in Michigan and I am a retired truck driver. He was trading seats with his co-driver, meaning he was getting in the driver's seat and his co-driver was getting out. They were weaving, going the wrong way down the interstate. Yes, you did hear me say, going the wrong way down the interstate. Well, guess what? There was a group of bikers. He murdered 3 of them and then blamed it on the wind. Let that sink in for a minute. He blamed it on the wind when he was going the wrong way with 80,000 pounds. I think both of the drivers in that semi should be charged murder 1. The governors and the department heads of motor vehicles in every state that's involved in a fatal accident of people that should never have been given CDLs should be charged murder 1. Guess what, guys? They tend to be from one party. The governor of Michigan is a Democrat. The governor of California, Democrat. The governor of Washington State, Democrat. The governor of New Mexico, Democrat. Folks, do you see a trend here? The problem is, generally, the people that are immigrants can't speak the language. They don't know the rules of the road. They haven't been here long enough to understand our traffic signals and lights and signs. I'm sorry, at trucking schools, I'm a firm believer. English only. You do not get tested in your language. You must be and efficient in English and understand and be able to write in English. You must be able to do the entire CDL tests by a state examiner from the state on the state payroll, and preferably that person should have prior trucking experience. I would like to know what you think about the second time in 2 weeks that 3 people lost their lives to either illegal immigrant weasels or immigrants from South Africa going the wrong way down the highway, trading seats with their co-driver. But it's the wind's fault that he hit and killed 3. It isn't the wind's fault. It's the governors of the woke states and the motor carrier head honchos of these woke states. It's the governor of Michigan, California, Washington, and New Mexico's fault. Americans need to get on touch with all their legislators in Washington, both sides of the aisle. Because one side of the aisle is caving in to Bernie Sanders and AOC, and they're the problems. Their priority is trying to get votes and recruit these people to vote for them. But it's us Americans and our families that are being slaughtered because of their woke agenda. Illegal aliens, immigrants, should have to be able to pass a common test in English and should be able to pass the CDL test in English. We should not be offering it in Swahili, Chinese, Arabic. Yes, we need ice at every truck stop, every weigh scale. And if you run a weigh scale trying to avoid them, as soon as you're detected, you should be arrested immediately and lose your freedom and your right to be in our country. I'm tired of the left, the Democrats, the socialists saying, oh, ICE should not have masks on. No, that's not the problem. Oh, woke Democrat states, stop issuing CDLs to the guys that shouldn't have them. Don't issue licenses to illegal aliens. Stop all work visas for CDL drivers. Yes, you heard what I just said. Stop all work visas for CDL drivers. Meaning only people that are born and raised in the United States should be behind the wheel of a semi. 6 American deaths in 3 weeks or 2 weeks is 6 too many, folks. 6 too many. I thought this case out of Florida was the only one, and then I find out, nope, 3 lost their lives in Nevada thanks to a South African trading seats with his co-driver while the truck's in movement at 65 miles an hour, and he was weaving in and out of traffic during that. And then he blames the wind for when he hit the bikes, killing 3. He blamed the wind. What did he do? Pass wind? Because that's the only wind that affected him. Folks, you do not make U-turns in a truck, such as the weasels in Florida, the illegal immigrants. If they're not undocumented, please, undocumented, stop lying to yourself. That's like saying a guy that enters a closed party store at 2 in the morning is a shopper. That's the biggest crock I've ever heard. There's no such thing as the undocumented. because they're unvetted. They entered our country here illegally. They broke the law. And anyone, I don't care if they've lived in the United States 20 years, if you entered the country illegally and you get caught, bye bye. Bye bye. We didn't need you anyhow. Why are we tougher on our prison population than we are illegal aliens? Just food for thought for a minute. And you notice these illegals are all driving automatic semi-trucks. Folks, when I drove a Super 18. And if you don't know what a Super 18 is, it is a 9-speed with a splitter, meaning you push that button up or down depending on what gear you need. And you had a clutch, so you had to use both feet and both hands because you had to hang onto the steering wheel and shift gears. Now they just push a button. They're distracted because they pushed a button. And many of them talk on the phone while they're driving. Guess what? Department of Transportation, federal level, that's a crime. To talk on the phone while you're driving a semi-truck is a crime. To look at your screen while you're driving, a crime. It's a crime in four-wheelers in many states, such as Michigan. But our police agencies, because of our woke governor here in the state of Michigan, can't pull you over for just that. They have to have another reason. Even though you're distracted, not paying attention to the road. How many more American lives have to be lost before we do something? I don't care what side of the aisle that you're on. If you support the governors from Washington, California, New Mexico, and Michigan, folks, you got a problem. Because Washington, California, and Michigan are the ones that issued licenses to these 4 individuals. 2 South Africans and 2 guys from India that entered the United States illegally, meaning they crossed the Mexican border into California. When they first applied for work visas, the first Trump administration turned them down. But as soon as Joe Biden got in there, they reapplied to Pete Buttigieg and were approved immediately. How many more American lives do we have to lose for illegal aliens and immigrants from South Africa and other countries? There are thousands of them, folks. But I just read this today. This happened 2 weeks ago. So in 2 weeks' time, we've lost 6 American lives to this situation. Who's to be held responsible? I know first thing tomorrow morning, I'm going to be on my phone to my governor's office screaming and yelling. I'm going to be on the phone to the Attorney General of the state of Michigan screaming and yelling. I'm going to be on the phone to the Secretary of State who issued this South African who said the wind caused the accident. It wasn't the wind. It was 2 guys making an illegal maneuver inside that truck, changing seats with each other while the truck was in motion and going the wrong way down an interstate in our country. In Nevada, folks. Who can honestly say you're not appalled at that? Either accident in the last 2 weeks, losing 6 American lives in the last 2 weeks. Come on, who can defend that? If you support the governors from the other side of the aisle, the Democrats, please, I'm willing to bring you on my panel and debate you. Let's debate this, if you dare. If you don't back ICE, I want to debate you. I'm willing to debate anyone that's willing to come on my panel and debate and defend the liberal states of California, Washington, New Mexico, and Michigan, who all have blood on their hands, by the way. I'm asking, if you're a liberal, please come and debate me. Maybe you know a liberal that would come on my panel and try to debate this. Or a liberal that hates immigration, ICE. I think ICE isn't doing enough. I think ICE needs to be at every truck stop, every rest area, patrolling the streets in between the weigh scales. For anyone that attempts to run the scales, and I'm sorry, there should be no bypass for trucks. Every truck in our nation should go through every weigh scale. And yes, every weigh scale in our country should be open 24/7. And doing inspections 24/7. And for those that are here illegally driving, if they cannot speak the language and comprehend, they should be given a English test and a road sign test and a road law test. If they can't pass it, they ain't leaving in a truck. They should leave in a squad car and deported. Yes, I did say deported. I'd rather deport 27 illegal aliens than have one American citizen murdered because the socialists, Democrats, oh, we have to be nice to them because they're here and they're undocumented. What a crock of bull. They're undocumented because they're here illegally. I don't care if they're a Mexican national that came across the border 20 years ago. Guess what? They're still illegal citizens. And yes, they should be deported back to Mexico. And this time, they don't get to come back for any reason. I'm not willing to have one American lose their life so or should I say, a illegal alien can make $1 in our country. I don't want them to drive 1 mile in a car alone, a 18-wheeler, folks. That's 18,000, or that's 80,000 pounds. How many American lives do we have to lose before the American public finally wakes up and say enough is enough? Folks, the liberals in our country, because funny, all these accidents are because the liberal states keep issuing CDLs to these guys. Washington is far liberal. California might as well be called the communist state of California in my mind. New Mexico, the same thing. state of Michigan. And unfortunately, I live in Michigan. Our liberal governor has blood on her hands because of this South African. Yes, blood on your hands, and you should not be in government. You should be behind bars. If you've given a illegal alien or immigrant a license to drive a CDL, you're already in violation of federal law. And if they kill someone, you, as the governor who decided to give immigrants, illegal immigrants, licenses to drive, they don't understand English. So why would we give them licenses to drive? And we need to stop catering to these foreign nationals. If you want to drive in the United States, guess what? You should take a English comprehension test, and then your test to drive should be 100% in English. If you can't read English, you don't get a license. Many of them live in the big city. There's public transportation for a reason. Guys, now we have 6 deaths in 2 weeks at the hands of illegal aliens and those other immigrants. I'm not sure of the South African's status. If he entered illegally, chances are he probably did. There are thousands of these guys on our highways, folks. And it's up to you and I to say enough is enough. The rules at the Department of Transportation at the federal level are slanted so us Americans get in trouble if we forget to sign our logbook or we do not fill out our logbook. We get fined. They get a slap on the hands and told, that's all right, you're here illegally. We don't want to mess up your American dream. That attitude needs to stop immediately. Americans are dying because of these poor choices. Motor vehicles departments throughout our nation should never, ever issue any license to a illegal alien. You shouldn't get rewarded for breaking the law. Let me say that again. You should not be rewarded for breaking the law. We treat U.S. citizens worse than an illegal alien. We need ICE at every truck stop 24/7. We need ICE at every rest area 24/7. Every truck in our country, 18-wheeler, should have to go through every weigh station it goes by. And if you attempt to run the weigh station and you're caught and you're undocumented, as the Dems would like to say, I call them illegals, guess what? You get hauled into the ICE deportation station and you're bye-bye. You're going home. But you're not going to be living in the United States. You're going home to your native country. Guys, the weasels in Florida, the 2 from India, were told not to leave Florida. Within 16 hours, they were in Stockton, California, They had crawled on an aircraft and were in the process of packing all their belongings and draining their bank accounts to fly to India. Thank God for the federal marshals who caught them at the airport. They had just murdered 3 Americans and were trying to flee our country. They were running like scared little rats. Guess what, folks? Florida's a death penalty state. And these 2 little rats from India are poster childs for the death penalty. I'm sorry. They're poster childs for the death penalty. And so is this South African and his co-driver, also a South African. Why don't you just pull over to the side, put the truck in park, crawl out, change positions with the other driver, and move on from there? Why do you attempt to trade seats when that 80,000-pound 18-wheeler is doing 65 mile an hour plus down the interstate? And mind you, they were going the wrong way. They killed 3 for going the wrong way. Is your family member next? Or is it your neighbor? Think about that. Let that sink in. Is it your family member or your neighbor's family member next? 6 people in 2 weeks. When are American citizens going to wake up and demand accountability? When are we going to prosecute these guys to the full extent of the law? And the people that issued them licenses when they should have known better. Yes, I'm talking Jocelyn Benson of the state of Michigan. When are you going to wake up? Gretchen Whitmer, governor of the state of Michigan. We cannot allow illegal aliens to drive even a car in our country. Wake up. Wake up, America. We can't do this. We're killing U.S. citizens. We're killing people's mothers, daughters, sons, fathers, aunts, uncles, nieces and nephews, best friends. We're killing them and letting their murderers get back in the semi and drive on. Wake up, America. Wake up. Wake up. Wake up at the ballot box. Because funny, all the states that have these cowards that got CDLs illegally, every state is a liberal Democrat stronghold. Every state is a Democrat state that issued these licenses. Jocelyn Benson, Democrat. Gretchen Whitmer, Democrat. Gavin Newsom, Democrat. Governor of Washington State, Democrat. Governor of New Mexico, Democrat. Folks, Democrats have blown it. They're killing us. 1 American, 2 Americans, 3 Americans. In both these crashes from a immigrant. I don't know if he was Legal or not, doesn't matter. He could not speak our language. But the one in Florida was from India. India. Third world country. But he got a CDL in America, so he making American dollars, sending them back to India. He making fortune at the expense of American blood. Every one of these governors from these woke Democrat states have blood on their hands. Every one of their motor vehicle directors, or whatever they call them here in the state of Michigan, it's called the Secretary of State, have blood on their hands. If you support that side of the aisle, guess what, buddy? You have blood on your hands. It's time to pull all licensing. I'm talking CDLs and regular operating licenses from all immigrants. If they can't speak the language and understand it, why are they behind the wheel of a vehicle? I don't get it, folks. I just don't get it. Why are we doing this to our country? Why are we allowing the woke Democrat supporters of Biden, Pete Buttigieg, who was the transportation secretary when both of these, or all four of these murderers, because that's what they are, got their CDLs. Yes, Pete Buttigieg was in charge, folks. How many more American lives do we have to lose? Because, we got to be nice to the immigrants. We ought to give them operating licenses to drive cars. But they can't speak English and they don't know road signs. South African got his license out of the state of Michigan, murdered 3 in November, or Nevada, 2 weeks ago. The Indian guys out of California got their license originally from Washington State, and then California issues them a non-domicile license out of California so they can continue to drive truck. And then they kill 3 trying to do a legal U-turn on the turnpike in Florida. Now, the South African was trading seats with his co-driver, also a South African, while the truck was moving. The truck was weaving in and out of traffic. But the wind caused the accident that killed the 3 Americans. What a crock of bull. It's a crock of bull that they even got their licensing. Folks, one American life is too much. For someone to no longer have the right to breathe air in their own country, but that illegal alien can be there operating a truck illegally. I'm sorry, but ICE should be in every truck stop throughout our country, 24/7. ICE should be at every rest area in our country, 24/7. And if you're illegal and you happen to catch my podcast, get out of the truck. We don't want you there. Go back home if you can't understand our language. And it's not hate speech, folks. It's called, I value human life. God didn't breathe into the nostrils of every breathing soul on this earth for a reason. Without reason. Every one of us have purpose. And my purpose is not to lose my family members to undocumented people from India that have no clue or remorse for their crimes. And it's just not their crimes, it's the agencies that gave them their licensing. It's also the governors of the states that gave them their licensing. So the four states that I can tell you without a shadow of a doubt that are guilty of this is Washington State, California, New Mexico, and now my home state of Michigan. 6 people lost their lives so these 4 people could drive semi in our country. You might as well let a blind man drive a semi at this rate, at the rate that they're killing people. It's time for the capital punishment. Let me tell you, if Florida executes these 2 illegal Indians from India for killing these 3 people, there will be a strong enough message sent and shockwaves felt all the way through India. They'll know, oh, you don't go to the U.S. and pull this because you will be killed if you kill someone. It's time we go back to biblical law, eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth. And this is not the only subject, folks, that we need to go for it. Talking about the state of Michigan, we shouldn't have our governor backdooring a grant to her leading Arabic donor after she hosted several fundraisers in her home for said governor. The governor backdoored $20 million to her. Okay, Arabics want Sharia law. Well, guess what Sharia law says if you rip off somebody, if you steal? You should have your hands chopped off publicly. I want to see that downtown Dearborn, Michigan, in front of their mosque. Let the Amman chop off her hands for stealing. When the state of Michigan asked for the money back, she could only $5 million. She got 20. She spent $15 million in 3 years, folks. She was going back and forth to the Middle East like it was candy. She bought a coffee maker that you and I could go to Walmart and buy it for $35. She bought one, ready for this? $4,500. Coffee's coffee, folks. We need to stop the selling out of America by these Democrats. And we need to hold them responsible for illegal aliens driving trucks and killing Americans. Every governor that issued a license to a migrant and or illegal that's killed in our country should be tried for murder 1, right with them. And in the case of Florida, the 2 Indians, Gavin Newsom should be tried, and capital murder should be on the table because that is available in Florida. I wish it was here in Michigan. ICE every truck stop, every way station. ICE, ICE, baby. Let's do it. ICE, ICE, baby. We need you everywhere, ICE. Tom Homan, please help us. Have a blessed day.